Okay, let's just dive right into this. Welcome to our latest explainer. Think of me as your ultimate personal mock interview coach for the day. We are going to completely break down the exact step-by-step strategies you need to land top software quality assurance roles at the premier tech companies in Bangladesh. We're talking Enosis, Cephalo, Passau, BrainStation 23, the big ones. So if you're ready to stop guessing and start absolutely owning the interview room, you are in exactly the right place.
Here is our game plan. We've got 6 key areas: the Bangladesh interview landscape, your test documentation review checklist, step-by-step bug reporting, scenario walkthroughs, acing API and SQL, and finally, winning that HR round.
All right, Section 1, the Bangladesh interview landscape and what to expect.
So your very first step is reconnaissance, right? You literally cannot win the game if you don't know the rules. And practically every major tech company in Bangladesh relies on a pretty brutal multi-round gauntlet. At Enosis, you're facing a 1-hour remote PC access round where you're testing live software. Cephalo, they hit you with a 2-hour combined written and Viva exam. Pavao demands practical smoke testing on the spot. You see, you aren't just going to be sitting there talking about QA. You're going to be doing it live, right under the microscope.
Let's move to Section 2, Test Documentation Review Checklist, Building the Foundation.
Before you even touch a keyboard, you have to master the core definitions that interviewers will grill you on right out of the gate. And here is a classic trap for junior candidates. Never, ever confuse SDLC with STLC. SDLC is the massive umbrella, right? It spans from requirements gathering all the way to deployment and maintenance. STLC is your specific domain. It's a focused subset covering just your testing blueprint, from test planning to closure. Keep them strictly separated in your mind.
Now, imagine a CTO asks you to document a test live. Your response needs to systematically hit these 10 structural components without a second of hesitation. Think of this as your absolute baseline pre-interview checklist. If you just write down step 1, step 2, pass or fail, you're going to fail the interview. You've got to include the preconditions, the exact test data you used, and the specific environment variables. It shows you're a pro.
Furthermore, you must clearly articulate testing strategies like boundary value analysis. Let's say they give you a field accepting ages 18 to 65. Please don't just say you'll test 30. You need to explain that this strategy is designed to catch extreme edge cases. Tell them you'll test 17, 18, 19, and 64, 65, 66. Because as we know, that is exactly where systems most frequently break.
Up next, Section 3, Step-by-Step Bug Reporting, the Practical Gauntlet.
Okay, put yourself in this scenario. You have exactly 1 hour of remote PC access at Enosis. You find a defect. How do you structure that bug report under simulated pressure? Well, a vague report instantly disqualifies you. If you just title your report, "Login is broken," you are out. This 10-point checklist right here proves your communication is sharp and actionable. A real title should be something like, "Login button disabled on iOS 16 Safari." Provide the exact environment, numbered reproduction steps, and critically, attachments like logs or screenshots. This naturally brings us to a favorite trick question across almost all technical rounds. What is the difference between severity and priority? Here's the secret. Severity is the technical impact that you dictate as QA. Priority is the business urgency dictated by project managers. For instance, if the CEO's name is misspelled on the homepage, that's actually a low-severity bug, because the system works perfectly fine, but it is absolutely a high-priority fix that needs to happen yesterday. You also need to be ready to confidently walk the panels step by step through the defect lifecycle. Explain exactly how a ticket flows. Tell them it starts as new, gets assigned, the developer marks it open as they're working, and then changes it to fixed. Then, and this is your moment to shine, it comes back to you for a retest. Only if you personally verify that fix does it transition to closed. Moving right along to Section 4, Scenario Walkthroughs, Proving Your Logis Live. Theory is great, but it won't save you in round 2. This is where they test how your brain fundamentally works. When the lead interviewer drops the seemingly simple question, "How would you test a login page?" they are not looking for a simple answer. They're actively evaluating your structured thinking. Do you just throw random ideas at a wall, or do you have a true, systematic approach? You're going to counter their question by systematically firing off these exact test cases. You start positive, valid credentials, then go negative, wrong password, unregistered email. Then hit those edge cases, empty fields, extremely long character limits, and finally, you prove you're a top-tier candidate by bringing in security tests like SQL injection payloads and functional checks like Remember Me session persistence.
Next, they might pivot and ask you to test a search functionality. This is a super classic scenario at companies like Patho. Again, follow your structure. Positive matches, case insensitivity, negative checks like empty searches or special characters, boundary checks on massive 1,000-character strings. And don't forget performance. Ask them, how does it handle a database with 1 million records?
Or if they really want to push your endurance, they'll throw a full registration form at you. Here, you must seamlessly map out validations from standard text fields, checking for duplicate emails, ensuring Bangladesh phone number prefixes actually work, all the way down to back-end data hashing to verify passwords aren't just sitting there saved in plain text.
All right, Section 5, Acing API and SQL, the technical deep dive.
Look, manual UI testing is great, but modern QA engineers absolutely must understand the backend architecture. You need to fire off precise, high-value answers here. Memorize the status code table. Knowing the difference between these is a mandatory baseline. For example, you have to instantly explain that a 401 unauthorized means you lack a valid token, while a 403 forbidden means your token is totally valid, but you don't have the admin permissions to actually view that page.
This slide gives you a complete step-by-step API validation framework. Using this proves to the CTO that you don't just lazily look for a 200 OK status and call it a day. You strictly validate the response body schema, you check that IDs are formatted as numbers and not strings, you verify security headers, and you ensure the SLI response time is lightning fast, under 500 milliseconds. And don't forget database testing. It's heavily scrutinized at companies like Shohaz and Therap. Use this matrix to confidently explain joins. The interviewer wants to know when you deploy an inner join to verify linked data exists versus a left join. And by the way, a left join is a QA engineer's absolute best friend for exposing those sneaky orphaned database records that are missing a relationship. When they hand you a whiteboard marker, be ready to write this exact SQL query. This short, incredibly powerful line of code instantly proves you know how to combine group by and having clauses to identify duplicate email records in a backend system, say right after a massive bulk data import. It's a total mic drop moment.
Finally, Section 6, winning the HR round, securing the offer.
You've survived the technical gauntlet. Your test documentation was flawless, your SQL queries executed perfectly. But you still have to conquer the final boss, the behavioral HR interview. Your secret weapon here is structuring every single answer using the STAR method. Whether they ask about a challenging bug you found or how you handle insane deadlines, break it down. Situation, task, action, and result. This formula keeps you from rambling and makes your responses professional, incredibly impactful, and tightly under 2 minutes. And when they inevitably ask you the big question, why you chose QA over software development, use a framework like this quote. Show them immense, undeniable passion. SQA isn't just some fallback career, it requires deep, specialized technical knowledge in automation, performance, and security. Ultimately, you have to ask yourself, are you going to be the candidate who just runs basic tests or the one who completely masters the system? I hope this explainer gives you exactly what you need to go out there and crush it. Best of luck in your interviews. You've got this.